Vincent van Gogh once said, "For my part, I know nothing with certainty, but the sight of the stars make me dream." Like Van Gogh, mankind has dreamed about the stars, searching for a better understanding of the universe and our place within it. The technologies that enable us to look outward into space, when pointed downward, enable us to see, understand, and explore our planet in new ways. When it comes to mapping and monitoring planet Earth, protecting our natural resources, providing for the safety of our people, the view from 400 miles up brings a unique vantage point that helps us address the most pressing global challenges of our time. In order to understand where the geospatial industry is today, I think it's essential we understand the linkages between our past and present. The Space 2.0 journey actually began many decades ago with the idea of global transparency between the United States and the Soviet Union to be able to act on the basis of facts rather than on the basis of fears. That began to change in the mid-1980s when Spot shined a spotlight, so to speak, on events at Chernobyl, where this image brought a level of global transparency similar to what we see today in the South China Sea. The modern geospatial industry then was born in 1992 when the United States government passed the Land Remote Sensing Policy Act, allowing the private sector to operate its own commercial high-resolution systems. DigitalGlobe pioneered high-resolution commercial satellite imagery 17 years ago. We since built the world's most powerful and sophisticated Earth observation capability serving governments, commercial clients, and global development organizations. In this brief period, high-resolution satellite imagery has become integral to our daily lives. More than 2 billion people today benefit from our imagery every 24 hours. We enable the internet maps we use every day, the satellite images that flash across our television screens every night, and we help our governments keep our nation safe around the clock. We can detect objects on the ground 30 centimeters in size, map remote villages, see through smoke, peer beneath the ocean surface, and from satellites traveling at 7.8 kilometers per second, orbiting our planet every 90 minutes. Based on these new advances, we can together create a platform that will revolutionize and catalyze a systemic change in the way geospatial technologies can address today's disruptive business models in ways never before possible. The remote sensing industry has evolved significantly over the past decade, changing market forces and sparking a new set of solution portfolios. From 2001 to 2012, we began to see shifts in increased resolution and data capacity. And through next year, we'll continue to see those trends evolve. And then by 2020, we will witness an industry clustering based on 3 primary use cases. Large area, low resolution change detection on the left, high resolution, high accuracy mapping and monitoring on the right, and moderate resolution but high revisit monitoring in the middle. For example, high resolution, high accuracy mapping and monitoring cluster that I just showed you enables workflows of organizations that respond when a natural disaster or crisis threatens the health and well-being of people around the globe. We document the damage and from above so that first responders and relief organizations can provide aid to victims on the ground below. By combining these space-based capabilities with new technologies on the ground, including social media, cloud computing, big data analytics, and crowdsourcing, we are changing both the technical and financial calculus of how we collect, access, update, and share global data around the world. Now, the new technologies that I just mentioned are not only taking us beyond just viewing imagery, but they are empowering platform-based service models. DigitalGlobe's Geospatial Big Data platform, for example, combines multi-source analytics and advanced algorithms to quickly unlock information at scale, which in this case you see the results of automated car detection in San Francisco. Let me share a couple more examples of how this geospatial platform is providing flexibility and the ability to customize and collaborate in order to solve unique problems around the world. At the Mobile World Congress earlier this year, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg announced the Telecom Infra Project. This is an initiative to develop new technologies and approaches for connecting the 4.2 billion people that still remain offline. To enable this, the Facebook Connectivity Lab is leveraging DigitalGlobe's Geospatial Big Data initiative to determine population densities across vast rural areas in 20 developing countries. If you're going to connect the world, you need to first know where the world's people live, correct? Another example, PSMA Australia offers national geospatial data sets derived from authoritative sources to support a range of public and private business solutions. Now let's say you're an insurance company and you want to insure a piece of property. To do so, you would need to know how tall the house is, what type of roof it has, what it's made of, are there trees nearby, perhaps is there a swimming pool. Typically, there are about 30 different parameters you would need to assess in order to assess the risk of the house. Now, the old model was to call the homeowner and ask for this information and hope we can believe them, I guess. But more likely today, you would send somebody out to validate this information, but that gets rather expensive. So how about using a geospatial big data platform to identify each house at scale, and then perhaps determine where the swimming pools are, and using our shortwave infrared sensor capability on WorldView 3, determine rooftop materials. And then scaling all of that analysis across the entire Australian continent. Now, we've heard that this year's conference theme is "Where is the money?" While it's exhilarating, I think, to explore these disruptive business models, I think we need to keep the pursuit of purpose top of mind. That is, to make our world a better place. In closing, I want to share an incredible story with you that I think captures the spirit. Today, modern slavery affects an estimated 30 billion people, according to the Global Fund to End Slavery. Last July, Martha Mendoza, an investigative reporter with the Associated Press, called DigitalGlobe asking for help on a story. But this was not any story. This was a mission to save lives, actually. Men from Myanmar, Cambodia, and Bangladesh are lured to Thailand with the promise of employment, but instead are sold into slavery, forced to work on fishing trawlers hundreds of miles from land in horrific conditions. 22-hour workdays, for years on end with no medical care, foul water, and little food. Ms. Mendoza needed visual evidence that this illegal activity was continuing. So on July 13, we received the coordinates of an area of interest, about 500 square miles, in the open ocean. Using our highest resolution satellite, we collected imagery and downlinked it in near real time. It was then analyzed by our team in Colorado, and within hours, our imagery analysis provided the proverbial smoking gun: identification and location of a legal cargo ship in the middle there with 2 illegal fishing trawlers tied alongside. Days later, authorities in Papua New Guinea freed 8 enslaved men from one of the boats who had been separated from their families for over 20 years. When one of the reporters tried to explain how the slaves were found, one of the slaves marveled, "A camera in the sky looking for us?" Weeks later, the Indonesian authorities detained those responsible and freed more than 2,000 men. Thank you. And for their courage, integrity, and tenacity, the team of 4 Associated Press journalists were awarded this year's Pulitzer Prize for public service. Look at our planet. It's not just continents and oceans. It's 7 billion people living, working, and interacting with their environments. Offering a glimpse of our planet from our perch in space reminds us all that despite the vastness of Earth, we are all very much interconnected to each other. Our industry paints a portrait of our planet in broad strokes and in fine details, from which we can create new platforms and unlock unique insights that helps all of us to see a better world. Thank you.